Hello and welcome to Connected episode 483, and Happy New Year. It is made possible by our sponsors, Fitbod, NetSuite, and ExpressVPN. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Myke Hurley.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Just the two of us today.
It is.
So we're not Annie's today. No Annie's today, because we are absent Federico. Annie's next week.
Did you think it was this week? Tell the truth.
Oh, 100% I did. Wait, I've gotten the names mixed up. This is not Annie's. It's annual Ricky's. Ricky's?
No, it's the Annie's.
What is it called?
It's the Annie's.
No, Annie's is what we just did. It's the year in review, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I think annual picks. Annual Ricky's.
Okay.
We're not doing the Rickies, but yes, I prepared for the Rickies. I've done all of it. I've done all of my picks because I thought it was this week. I forgot. I even got my risky approved and everything. So like I'm done. So I'm just ready and waiting for next week.
That's when I knew you were off by a week. Because you're like, what do you think about this risky? I was like, wow, he's on top of it. Oh, no, he thinks it's in 2 days.
Yeah.
It was great.
I forgot the planning. I forgot how we were planning this one out, but we will be doing it next week.
Yeah, New Year's takes a little bit longer in Italy, is what we're saying.
Yeah, it hasn't hit them yet. It'll be New Year in like 2 more days. Little known fact. Due to the curvature of the Earth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start the new year with some old stuff and talk about follow-up. Art wrote in, one last submerged AirPod story. This will sound wild, but I swear it's true. I was doing some painting when I had my right AirPod Pro drop into a gallon of paint. I immediately wrote it off and even ordered the overpriced single AirPod to replace it. That's a sad story. About a week later, when I hit the bottom of the paint can, the old AirPod emerged. I carefully wiped it off and it still works. I'm convinced that the high viscosity of the paint kept it from intruding too much. Science is good.
I don't believe this story is true.
You think it's made up?
I'm just going to tell you this right now. I don't believe that this story is true. I'm not saying that this person lied, but I also don't think they're telling the truth. This doesn't seem possible to me. It's got to be wrecked, right? How could it not be wrecked? I don't understand. How could it live inside of a tin of paint for a week and not die?
It seems like it would be dead.
I don't understand how that could happen.
I don't know.
Maybe there needs to be somebody smarter than me who can explain why this is the case. But like, this just feels like it doesn't make any sense to me that this AirPod could continue to survive.
Well, it seems like it did. I don't know if there's any way Art can prove this, but if you can, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Big news, Mike.
No.
Tim Cook will be at Relay 10.
No, I've consulted our legal team. You cannot say that. That is not something that you legally are allowed to say.
Where did this image come from then?
I don't know, but I don't know if it's a real photo. It could be a real photo, but it's got nothing to do. Can you explain this? This was weeks ago now.
Yes.
So this came up.
We talked about that picture of Tim Cook standing in front of the Vision Pro that was very clearly photoshopped with his arms crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, yeah, you could just put him in front of anything. And then listener Taylor sent this image in, which is in the show notes and in the Discord, of Tim Cook standing in the theater where we're doing the 10th anniversary show in July. He's there. He's waiting for us.
That would be, can you imagine? If we landed Tim?
It'd be a big get.
He was just on one of the Fortunate Family teams.
Oh, so he's like not even... So he's not even like in the audience, but he's also not even like being interviewed. He's just
He's just on the team.
Just on the team.
I will say, if Tim showed up and was just in the audience, I would be kind of perturbed by that.
What if he was in the audience and we saw him, but we like didn't do a shout out or anything?
That would throw me off.
Just like he was like nod a little bit, like, "Hey, man."
I would be thrown off if I looked out and saw him in the crowd. That would throw me off.
It seems like Eddie Q maybe would be more exciting to have in the audience because he might throw something at us. He seems, you've seen pictures of him at the sidelines of basketball games. He gets fired up.
Maybe like someone would answer a question wrong and like he would just like lose it.
Maybe.
Just lose it, storm the stage.
Could be. I don't think we're going to have any Apple executives on stage.
No, we're not going to. You're. I don't know why you keep couching this. It's not going to happen. We know what the show is. I don't want them there. It's not for them. It's for us. You know, like we're doing an event celebrating us, and then Tim Cook shows up, and then everyone's just talking about Tim Cook. I want them talking about me and you. You know,
that's true. Yeah, the
it's
Mac
like, look at
Rumors
what they
article would
did.
be like at some podcast thing.
Exactly. It's like, get out of here.
Get out of here.
You know, we don't want you. Go away.
Yeah, go back to your
Get
stocks.
out of here. Go back to do something else.
Go back to the gym.
You know? Get out of here. Jeez.
Wes wrote in looking for consumer advice.
We're definitely the podcast for you.
We're pretty good at it, I think.
I think so. We're the show for you, Wes.
Wes wrote in, I've been a listener of Connected and MPU for going on 6 years. Thanks, Wes. I'm an educator, writer, and minister going on sabbatical in January. I need a space away from the rest of my family. So, inspired by Mega Studio in the pod cabin, my father-in-law and I are building a writing shed in the backyard. What Mac would you recommend I put in my cabin? I have a work-issued M1 MacBook Pro, but I want a dedicated computer for the space. My main goal is to conserve space, write, and research in the cabin. What do you think?
A Mac Mini?
But then you need a display.
But it's a dedicated computer, right? So it's not going to move.
My thought was a MacBook Air because it's like super little. You can just stick it in a drawer if you're doing something on the desk that you don't want the computer for. And then you have a MacBook Air at the end of it, which is a cool computer. I know you're a big desktop user. You know, you'd have this guy buy a Mac Pro probably, but you gotta embrace the laptop lifestyle like the rest of us.
I think a Mac Mini is the answer because like you can put together a cheaper set.
A Mac Mini plus a studio display?
I didn't. Who said studio? You said studio display. I said display.
Oh, so you're gonna get him to buy some janky thing off Amazon?
I don't have a studio display. The machine that I'm talking to you, I have an LG display and then also some Dell display. Like it's very doable
and janky.
Yeah, sure. I mean, to be fair, you have had and owned and used all of the displays, so you would know.
That's true.
I think Mac Mini and a display and then some keyboard and mouse would be great because like if you're a writer, right, you shouldn't be using a laptop keyboard. You got to use something with some panache to it, right? You got to like get some mechanical keyboard all up in there. You can feel the keys doing their thing as you're writing. And I also feel like if you want it to be dedicated and you want to write in that space, laptop is not good because you'll be tempted to take it out. And I think you want like a machine. You buy a display once and you have the display for like 10 years and you could replace the Mac Mini if you want a few times. I'm definitely in the desktop life now, even with my laptop. So that's what I think. If this is a dedicated space and you already have a laptop, get a Mac Mini. Steven says get a MacBook Air.
Get a MacBook Air.
If only Federico was here.
He would say get an iPad or
he would,
Surface.
And you don't want to do that.
No.
Those things are dead.
You can't do a real sabbatical with an iPad, as they say.
You can't. No, everyone knows the one thing you can't do on an iPad is write. So I will say I was working on an article for something, a long form piece of writing.
What?
Long form for me. Which
Who
is like
are you?
A couple of 100 words. I know. Can you imagine? I was working on something when I was away and I didn't have my laptop and I had my iPad mini. Writing on the iPad mini screen, like the keyboard, I hated it so much. It was so bad. It was a terrible time by everyone.
This is where I admit that Wes's feedback is several weeks old. Wes may have already bought a computer.
And I hope that Wes made the right decision and bought a Mac Mini.
And I hope the writing shed goes well. It's very exciting.
Yeah, let us know. Wes, let us know who won.
Yeah. Wes bought a Mac Studio. Okay. Thus concludes follow-up.
Congratulations.
We've done it. The first follow-up of the new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Fitbod. When you want to change your fitness level, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why I'm pleased to let you know that Fitbod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan that's just for you. Everyone's fitness path is different, which is why Fitbod uses data to make sure they customize things exactly to suit you, adapting as you improve so each workout will be challenging, pushing you to make the progress you want. Superior results are achieved when a workout program is tailored to your unique body, experience, environment, and goals, which are all stored in your Fitbod gym profile. Fitbod tracks your muscle recovery so you can avoid burnout and keep up your momentum. And it builds your best possible workout by combining AI and exercise science. They've analyzed billions of data points that have been fine-tuned by certified personal trainers. And you can make sure you're learning new movements the right way thanks to more than 1,000 demonstration videos. Muscles improve when working in concert with the entire muscular system, so overworking some muscles while underworking others can negatively impact results. That's why Fitbod tracks muscle fatigue and recovery to design a well-balanced workout routine, which also means you're never going to get bored as the app mixes up your workouts with new exercises, rep schemes, supersets, and circuits. And the Fitbod app is really easy to use. You can stay informed with progress tracking charts, weekly reports, and sharing cards, which lets you keep track of your achievements and personal best, and then share them with your friends and family. And it also integrates with your Apple Watch, Wear OS smartwatches, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health. I really do like Fitbod. I love that it tells you and shows you how to do these movements with all of these videos, because it can be a bit intimidating to try something new. You don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to do something that put yourself at risk. And having that information in the app makes me feel much more confident. And I can see it adapting and changing over time. Personalized training of this quality can be expensive, but Fitbod is just $12.99 a month or $79.99 a year. But you can get 25% off your membership by signing up at fitbod.me/connected. So go now and get your customized fitness plan at fitbod.me/connected for 25% off your membership. Once again, fitbod.me/connected. Our thanks to Fitbod for their support of the show and Relay FM.
So Wes's question made me think about workspaces, and I wondered if you had anything that you wanted to do differently in the pod cabin in 2024.
I'd like to expand it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, here we go. I want to put a new level on the top.
That's
We're
right.
going up, baby. The only way is up.
Actually, I was thinking about
You
going
would need
down.
such a huge staircase to go up.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ceiling's so high.
It
You would
is.
lose half of the floor plan to just put the staircase in. Just spiraling around, you know?
Well, use the staircase to go up. Use the fire pole to come down, obviously.
Yeah, baby. Let's go.
No, I mean, so this marks my third year in the expanded office, the beginning of the third year. And I really don't have any major plans for changes. I feel like overall the bones of it are good. There are a couple of workspace related projects I'd like to get done this year. One of them being inventory the collection for realsies this time. This has been on my list for a couple of years, but I really need to get it done. So that hopefully that will happen. But also I have being Relay FM, has accumulated quite a bit of equipment over the last 10 years, not all of which we use anymore. And so I also have a task for, I think I'm working on it in the spring, kind of going through our equipment and making sure our inventory is correct, but also like seeing what we need to keep, seeing if we can clean house a little bit. Because we got a bunch of stuff that we use in different stages of like our live show production that I've just kept that we don't actually need anymore. And I feel like I could get some space back with some spring cleaning.
A lot of microphones.
A lot of microphones. There's a whole drawer of them over there.
Probably don't need all of them.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Mega Studio for 3 years now, and I mostly have not changed it at all. Like, it's kind of been the original layout. And I want to make some changes to my recording desk this year. So as it stands right now, I am facing the wall, and I have behind me these like panels. If anyone's ever seen a clip from the upgrade, we do like the the video clips, web clips. What am I talking about? We like the video clips.
You sound
right?
so old.
Yeah, we do special webisodes. Now. Yeah, we're doing those, and I want to make this desk better for video, and so I want to flip my desk around so behind me is the wall, but I want to put some like bookshelves, or like some shelving behind me to put stuff on, so it's like aesthetically pleasing.
Do you want me to build a Kallax for you when I come in July?
Absolutely not. No,
I'll make sure it's screwed into the wall so it doesn't fall over.
Not going to bother screwing it into the wall. What's the point? I'm going to get some. I found like these IKEA shelves that I like the look of that aren't Kallax. And I was looking at the ones you had, but then I found some different ones that I liked. They just look pleasing. And I'm probably going to put my keyboards and stuff like that behind me so it will look good, right? As a visual. Also gives me somewhere to put all my keyboards.
Are you going to do some lighting so you can like light them and they look really cool in the background?
I hadn't thought about that, but that's probably a good thing to do. I could get some of that, like those like light strips or whatever. I might do that, actually.
That'd be sweet.
I'm going to write that down. Let me write that down.
Okay.
And I'll put it.
Do you have a notebook or something you use for that?
I have the Sidekick notepad right in front of me, but I do use Notion. I'm using Notion to plan this out. That's the way I do things these days.
Yeah.
Light strips. I'm writing that down. 4 shelves. And I know I'm going to have to redo the way the desk is arranged, but I don't know what that's going to look like yet because I have like the 2 monitors and stuff, and I think I'm going to need to redo that. This is the original Stephen face desk.
Yes.
That I'll still be using. And I'm thinking about, for video, getting a refurb iPhone to use as a camera instead, because webcams suck.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I've found out. Using a proper camera, like an actual camera as a webcam would look good, but I also want to be able to use this setup to do like other video stuff, like Instagram Reels and stuff like that. So using an iPhone for that is perfect because I can very easily do portrait content and then share the video right from the iPhone itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'll be able to set it up so I can have like dual purpose with it, because I'm finding myself doing more of that, wanting to do more of that, and needing to do more for various projects. And so I think it'll be really cool for that. So and then I'm going to have to see how that kind of the spacing of all of this would affect the rest of the studio. Like I might have to move some other things around because I don't yet know like how much space I'm going to need between the desk and the wall really to make that comfortable. So I might have to do some more moving around once I've gotten this set. So like priority number 1 is getting everything ready for the studio, like for the recording area. And this is one of those things where it's like, once I start this project, it has to be completed quickly because I will be breaking down my recording area.
Yeah. You got to have everything like staged and ready to go.
Yes. And like maybe do it in like 2 or 3 days and it's got to be done. Right. So like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm taking time to try and properly plan it all out before I make any moves of it. And then once I've gotten that all set and any knock-on effects have been had, I want to get like a new desk/table in the studio that can just be for design stuff. Because like at the moment, I don't really have a space for that. And it's something where I can occupy a lot of physical space very quickly if I've like got lots of sheets of paper, books and stuff like that. I also want to be away from computers when I do this. And so having like my different inspiration stuff and all my drawing tools and like all in one space. I really like the idea of that. Just having this one desk, that's what this desk is for. It's kind of how kind of your like overhead desk, like that I know its purpose changed a lot over time, but like it has always been like this is a single purpose thing.
Right.
And I want to have one of those. But where that's going to go, I don't know yet until I've like done the most important thing, which is rearranging this desk and kind of getting it better for video. So that's kind of a big project that I've got that I'm trying to work through right now. But the pieces are starting to fall into place.
Do you have a code name for this project?
I I don't think I do. No.
Should
The problem
we work on one?
we can. Yeah.
Trying to think.
The problem with code names for me right now is my new assistant sees all of these projects, and I want them to make sense to her.
Well, you just need a database in Notion mapping
All the
code
project names.
to the real ones. My immediate thought was Project Hollywood because it's all about video.
I'm in.
Project Hollywood.
You've done it. Yeah, I don't think you could come up with something better than that.
There we go.
It's in Notion now. Project Hollywood.
Perfect.
You're a genius.
Thank you.
I love it. Project Hollywood, baby.
Project Hollywood.
We're going Hollywood.
Let's go.
So like the stuff that I want to do, like I want to make some, and I want to like dabble with real stuff, but like just me talking to the camera. But really, I need it for Cortex brand stuff. Like Carrie's like, make this real, and I have to go make it. And I would like to have. One, I would like to just have a place where I can just very easily make that content without having to think too much for it. And also, I would like to maybe get one of those, what are they, prompters or something.
Yeah.
Because I usually need to say a bunch of stuff, right? And it's just easier if I just had a prompter and I could read it. I saw that David got the prompter, the Elgato prompter, and he seemed to dig it. So I might do that.
I've got one here in a box. I haven't set it up
Oh, I'll be keen to know what you think of that. But I thought that would be a very easy way to be able to produce content and like do what needs to be done with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like achieve what I'm supposed to. So we'll see. I might do that. That's like let me get everything else set first, and then maybe I'll look at doing something like that. I don't even know how well that works with an iPhone, if at all.
I don't know. I need to play with it.
I get the impression that you can kind of make it work with everything, but I don't know.
It comes with a bunch of like attachment things, kind of like the Vision Pros only come with all the light shields.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you could adapt it to almost anything, but I plan on opening mine pretty soon. I just haven't gotten a chance to get to it yet.
What do you have it for?
Because I like to do some more video stuff too, and even just doing like our, we do a bunch of like St. Jude meetings and stuff. I'd like to just kind of up my game with some professionalism.
Wait, so why would you?
So you can the Elgato one, the Mac sees it as an external screen, so you can like put the Zoom call on it, or put your document on it, or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see if it sticks or not. I may end up shipping you mine. We'll see.
Okay. It does say it works with a phone, but it might need the phone might need to be in a certain like configuration. But they do say that you can use a phone with it. So, but I don't know if you can do it portrait or landscape or whatever. But
with enough gaff tape, anything will work with it.
Do you know what? That's a really good point. That's a really good point. So what would you plan to put like a proper camera behind it then? Like for you?
I currently have a Sony, what is it, the VZ1 or ZV1?
You always look really good on our video calls.
Yeah. I currently have one of those hooked up on a little mount over my laptop.
I have a Logitech Brio and I hate it.
Let's talk about slightly larger iPhones.
See if we can break the Elgato.
That's right.
Already.
That's right. This story on Mac Rumors caught my eye, looking at possible changes to the. You keep adding things to the links. I'm very confused. That used to be my job. Now is it suddenly your job?
Absolutely. Was this never your job? I have been adding the links to
Connected?
CMS. Yes.
How many weeks did we take off?
Have you forgotten that this was what I do for our show?
Maybe I did. I do on a regular basis accidentally add things to the wrong show all the time. So like
I
I'm
do
doing
that all the time.
MPU and I add a link to Connected or to something else. It's bad.
But I have managed the adding of the links to the CMS for the entire run of this podcast. That has always been my job.
Okay, well, I'm just going to close that tab then.
You've gotten very confused in the last 2 weeks.
Slightly larger iPhones.
I can't believe that you just... That's very strange to me that you're just like, oh, I do this. What is that meme, right? This is mine. You take it. I made this.
That's right.
That's you.
Take my.
Do you do it for MPU?
Yes.
Okay, that must be where you're getting confused.
And I've recorded like 3 MPU since I did the last connected, so maybe I'm just in that mode.
Yeah, you're in an MPU fever dream.
Always. So the iPhone 15 Pro has a 6.1 inch display, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the world's best iPhone, is at 6.7.
Yeah.
And according to multiple sources cited by this Mac Rumors article, the 16 Pro will go to 6.3 inches, so up 0.2 inches diagonal. And the same for the Pro Max. It'd go from 6.7 to 6.9. That's 170 to 174 millimeters for our metric friends. So the Pro phones, according to this, would get a little bit bigger, but the regular iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus would retain the old sizes, 6.1 and 6.7. So if you went to a store, if you lined them up by size, you would have the iPhone 16 at 6.1 inches, the iPhone 16 Pro at 6.3, the iPhone 16
Pro
16 Plus at 6.7.
Sorry.
And the iPhone 16 Pro Max at 6.9. That tracks to me. I think that kind of makes sense.
They will get bigger so it will be consistent, right? That like the Plus will be bigger than the Pro, the Max will be bigger than the Plus.
Wait, right? I need to draw that out.
So you've got regular iPhone is the smallest.
Yes.
Pro is a bit bigger. Plus is a bit bigger. Max is the biggest.
Yes.
Pro Max is the big.
Yeah.
I don't think I like the idea of the Pro Max getting bigger. Like I don't know how I feel about the phone, the physical size of the phone getting larger, even though it's only a little bit. But like the screen getting bigger is fine. But the fact that the phone will actually get bigger, I don't know. It's only by a few millimeters though, so maybe you won't notice it. But yeah, I don't really know why they're doing this, to be honest. Like, it just doesn't. I don't understand the point of this. The article does say that maybe this would allow for more like internal changes. Maybe they could put more battery in there or whatever, which would be nice, I suppose. But like, this is to me a curious decision to make phones bigger.
Yeah.
Now,
and I will say at 6.9 inches, the iPhone 16 Pro Max would be almost twice the screen size as the original iPhone. Like that original 3.5 inch design, because we'd be getting close to 7 inches.
Can I ask a question? Is that how it works? Is it actually 2 times the size, or is there like something weird about math when if it's going?
Well, because it measures diagonal, I think it's twice the size, twice the area. Maybe a mathematician can weigh in Discord and save me, but I think it would be twice as big. I can go get an original iPhone if you give me a second, and I can just lay it over my 15 Pro Max and see.
I don't think it was going to give you what you need, but you can go and you should go do that because you have the ability to do that. Like, why would you not do that? You're just sitting on this like treasure trove of stuff.
This thing feels like a toy.
Zach says different aspect ratios measure differently.
I guess that makes sense. Let's look. This is very scientific.
Yeah. Please let me know what you think about.
I mean, it's a lot bigger.
Oh, I've no doubt that it's a lot bigger. Like, no one was arguing that it was going to feel normal in any way.
Let me. I'll just take a picture and have it in the show notes. Okay, so on the 15 Pro Max, the whole iPhone fits beneath the camera bump.
Wow, that's small.
Take a picture here. It's not a great picture because I'm taking it on an iPad. Well, no, I'm not. I have an iPhone 12. Let me do it on that. A little bit better. I wonder, with Apple doing this, like, is it just another way to separate the regular line and the Pro line? Like you said, does it give them the opportunity to have more features and more battery life? Is it just... I don't know why they would do it if they don't do it across the line. That's the part that's more interesting to me, is that it would only be in the Pro line.
Yeah. This is one of those things where like this is a piece of information that may or may not be accurate, but it's like it out of context doesn't make any sense, right? Like it's just like there's no way of us knowing why they would do this. It may literally just be what you said earlier of like it makes the lineup look better, and that maybe they think they can get more Pro phone sales doing this, or there might be some technological reason of a thing that they're adding, and if they make the phone a little bit bigger, it helps. Like it's just this is a piece of information that like in a vacuum we probably can't do much with right now other than just ponder it.
Mm-hmm. But you're worried about it getting too big?
My worry is that it's going to get too big for no reason. You know? I like the size of the phone as it is right now, and I like that they made it lighter. And if they make it bigger, are we going to start undoing that, you know?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, this article does have weights as well, and it's about an additional 4 grams. So it still wouldn't be where the stainless steel phones were, but yeah, I do worry about the weight as well.
Yeah, I don't want that to change because I love that about this phone so much. It's like it's easy to forget because you just live with that every day. But if we were getting rid of the old phones, and it's like, oh wow, that's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my favorite things about this phone is the weight of it. It just feels so good to hold.
It's really nice. I've been using mine without a case recently, and it's so good.
Like a champ, you know?
Like
it's
a
the
gentleman.
best way to live. Like it is the best way to live. No case on the iPhone, just as Steve intended.
Wow. And you don't even have AppleCare.
Who needs it? They just lie to you and they say that they'll fix your phone, but they won't, and then they call you a liar and a cheat and a fraud because you have scratches on your phone. You just want to pay them to replace it, but they won't do it.
Did they say all of those things to you?
Effectively, yes. Yeah, they did.
Interesting. Yeah. That photo's in Discord now. It took me a while to get it airdropped.
Yeah,
okay.
Do you have a link for me to add to the show notes?
It's already in the show notes, son.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
I put it on 512pixels.net's web server and then just link to it.
Get the affiliate money in there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not how that works.
You want to use Fastmail? Here's my affiliate code. Have you seen, have you held or seen an original iPhone recently?
Probably when I came to you.
It's so good. Like it's
not,
thick.
Though.
It's a thick boy. Actually, side by side with my 15 Pro Max, maybe it's not that thick, but it feels so good in the hand. Like the rounded edges and the aluminum and the plastic, like they really, they nailed it.
That's a bit of an argo now.
I mean, it's of its time, I guess.
Where did we tier list rank the iPhone?
I mean, it depends on how you're tier listing. If it's on looks, no, it's not going to be towards the top. But if it's hand feel or importance, it's S tier.
But we did do it,
did we?
Yeah, and we S tiered it. We S tiered it.
Good. That's good. Yeah, listener Ryan says, look how small the camera lens was. That's the first thing I think every time I pick this thing up. It is microscopic compared to the camera bump on the modern phones.
Yeah, I know that people like they pine for that, right? But it's like, well, you could just have a bad camera if you like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's no way of doing what you want, which is and making the phone good to hold. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, the first iPhone didn't have video. Okay, now we're just reminiscing about the original iPhone. We have to move on.
You are.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
My last thing on iPhone sizes. Okay. Do you think we're ever going to see a small phone again?
No. It didn't sell, right? Obviously. Because they would have kept doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making all the phones bigger. There's a reason, right? Like they just keep making the phones bigger and bigger and bigger because it's clearly what people buy. And in the volumes that make sense for Apple. There are other companies that can probably be very happy with the sales of a small phone, but clearly Apple isn't, or they would have kept making the Mini. And like, I guarantee you the SE gets bigger.
Yeah. I think the SE could adopt the Mini size, but I think it'll be in between like the Mini and the Pro. I don't think it'll be as small as the Mini was.
No, I think the next SE, if they do one, will be bigger than the Mini. I think, and will be bigger than the current SE. Like, I do believe it will be good. Like they will put Face ID on it. Like they're going to go the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't imagine they would ship a new product of a home button now.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I think that phone is a small phone just because of what it's building on, and like it will build on top of a new frame. And I wouldn't be surprised if that frame was the regular iPhone frame,
Could
and
be.
then it just moves on from there or whatever. I can't. I would be very surprised if they created a whole new form factor for the iPhone SE that wasn't kind of like building on top of something else that they've done.
This tier list is wild. 6S
perfect.
Plus got S tier?
Yeah.
How? Why? I guess we have to go listen to that episode if we want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt that there was a reason. Episode 404.
Not found. Okay. That was a little programming joke for you.
Is that programming?
A little web server joke for you.
There you go.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by NetSuite. If you have a business, you can probably relate to this, that when your business gets to a certain size, cracks start to show. Things that you used to do in a day are now suddenly taking a week. You have too many manual processes and you don't have one source of truth. It's never a good feeling when everything in your business is disjointed. Too many processes in too many places. You want clarity. You want one place where all the important stuff happens. The solution to untangling that disjointed feeling is NetSuite. NetSuite is a software company that has developed a cloud-based business management platform to help you and your team deal with key business processes like enterprise resource planning and financials, CRM, e-commerce, inventory, and more. Internal organization is so important in a business. It's something I've learned over and over the last decade. And if you want to make sure the cracks don't emerge in your business, you should know these three numbers: 36,000, 25, and 1. So what do these numbers mean? 36,000, that's the number of businesses that have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25 is because NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down costs. And 1 because your business is one of a kind. So get your customized solution for all your KPIs in one efficient system with one source of truth. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need to grow, all in one place. Having all the information you need in one place makes it so much easier to make decisions. I know as a business owner what a difference that can make and how much easier everything operates when information is readily available. It means that you can make smart decisions and make them faster. So go download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance, absolutely free, at netsuite.com/connected. That's NetSuite, NETSUITE, netsuite.com/connected to get your own KPI checklist to make sure your business continues to thrive. Our thanks to NetSuite for the support of the show and Relay FM.
It's incredibly early in the year, but we are, I think, fully in Vision Pro season. I think it's happening. There's a lot of rumors that are suggesting any day now for either an event or a product release or something. Like, we'll put one in the show notes. It was the most recent. It was a rumor from a Chinese investor news service that seemed to indicate the end of January for product release. But Ming-Chi Kuo has been saying that like Apple is basically in full production right now and is expecting late January, early February as an on-sale time due to the way that the supply chain works. I feel like everything that we've been told would suggest it was now. And I would say everything that I've heard, you've heard, anybody's heard from any source, sketchy or otherwise, is suggesting that like it's happening, right? Like now is the time. And I am like mentally preparing myself.
You should be financially preparing yourself.
It's all of these things because like there's no world in which this is simple for me specifically, right? Because like if I want to get one of these, there is going to need to be a trip to America to buy one.
Yeah. Big Apple buddy.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to work though. Like,
no.
I this is something I have to go.
You have to. Well, it would if you send John your face, and then he goes to the Apple Store.
It's
with
not
your face
out of the question.
measured.
Like maybe I could like make like a 3D printed mask, and John could take that and like wear my face as his face, and like go into the Apple Store. You know,
I like it.
He could like like the trench coat thing, like 3 babies in a trench coat. He could do like one of those. Like he could put my head on top of his head so it'd be like the right size, and then put a trench coat around him and like just walk into the store and be like, hello there, I've come for my fitting. You know, he could do that. But I don't know if John wants to do that, to be honest. Also, I feel like the John experience, that is a Federico reserved thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to do for me what he does for Federico. Like, I don't think. And neither would I expect him to, really. But I'm expecting wild things to happen. I'm also expecting it to happen any day now. Like, I've had it in my mind this week, kind of like in the evening, to be like keeping my eye on Mastodon, like her event invites going out. Like, I feel like genuinely, I feel like next week there could be invites for the week after. And for an event. I know you have in our document here, like, what do you expect? I think there would be a full-on event. What do you think?
I do think there will be an event. At first, I was like, well, what would they do? And then I remembered that in March of 2015, the event that our friend Federico went to, where they introduced the one-port MacBook, the whole back half of that event was basically the final announcement of the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch, of course, was introduced in September of 2014 with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, which they rushed through. If you go watch that keynote, it's hilarious how fast they get through the iPhone. But they announced the Apple Watch, and then basically nothing. And that's the period we're in now, right? They announced it in June, and like there's some software stuff happening, but there's no hardware yet. So I think there's an opportunity for them to have an event where they go back over the Vision Pro, but they start to they fill in the blanks, the things we don't know. They give us more demos of what software looks like on it. We get a better picture of what, what does it look like with the different straps and the light shields? Like, what does that process look like? Giving us more information. And of course, giving us the price, because all we know is it starts at $34.99. What does that mean? How much space does that come with? Can I get more space for more money? We don't know.
How much is a battery pack?
Yeah.
Right. So genuinely, like, there's things like that we just don't know. And I 100% think that it is a full-on event, because it's also just like, as well as the demos from third parties, which they will inevitably have, of apps and games and all that kind of stuff, right? Which is probably one of the reasons they've been holding so many developer sessions, right? So they can pick out some cool stuff. But there's also, like, I think a lot of what this device is like to work with has not been shown yet. And I'm expecting should be part of the introduction of it. Like, that it's not just an entertainment device, because that's definitely not what they pitched, but it is most of what they've shown. And so I think that there is a bigger story to tell there. Like, there is more of a justification for why this thing costs $3,500 and why your company should buy it for you, Yeah. I can think that there is still a lot of that story left to tell. And I 100% expect them to do an event, like an iPhone-like event for it, to give it the treatment that they want to give to it. Like, this is an important product. Like, I genuinely think that this is the biggest, most important product that has launched in the time that I've been covering Apple. Like,
more than the watch.
Way more than the watch. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, because we always knew the watch was going to be an accessory, right? Like, I don't think realistically we expected that we were going to be living our lives with just watches, right? There is an expectation that Apple is setting that this is a new way to use a computer, right? Like, this is a computer, this one. Like, it's the watch we knew was tied to the iPhone. This thing works on its own. Like, it is a computer. And I find that to be very exciting. It might not go anywhere, right? It might be bad. It might be a disaster. But that's not what they're saying. It's not what they're pitching. And if we're to believe what they're telling us, like, this is the future of computing, I don't know that it's going to be, but it's clearly it's a big deal. And I'm excited about that. And I'm in the camp of, like, I'm ready to see how this thing is going to change everything. Like, we'll see what happens. But, like, I definitely think that this is the most important product that has been introduced in the time that we've been doing this.
Interesting. Yeah, I think because I struggle with I haven't used it and you have, so your point of view is different. But I struggle with the importance level of this product in people's lives. We're like, and again, we have 10 years of hindsight with the watch. So if you wind back the clock to like episode 2 of the show, maybe we were talking differently about this. But 10 years in, the watch has become very important to people. And I think that's independent of, is it a computer or not? Because the watch isn't a computer. I mean, it is a satellite device. Even in cellular mode, it's still basically a satellite device to your phone. And they've loosened those bonds, but they haven't broken those bonds over time yet. So the Vision Pro is its own computer. It can do its own setup. It has its own apps. It has its own everything. But the watch is something you wear every day. It makes a meaningful impact in your life, health and fitness wise, communication wise. And I just am not sold on that being true for the Vision Pro yet. Maybe it will be, but I'm just unwilling to say at this point that it's the most important thing that we've seen in our time covering them. But we'll see. We'll find out.
Let me try and pitch you on this a little bit more, right?
All right, Sharks, let's go.
The scope of what they are introducing is as big as anything we've seen, right? Because the watch, right? So the watch is very important to people, but like in the same way that AirPods are, right? Like, you couldn't imagine living your life without it right now, but if you had to, you could make it work.
Sure.
Right? You could use something else or whatever. But the Vision Pro is hardware, and it's the start of a series of hardware that is inherent in the marketing of the product, right? That we know it's going to be more than this. It is a full operating system that they have developed with a new input method, which is eye tracking. And the whole eye tracking tapping method, that's akin to mouse clicking. It is akin to multi-touch. It is a brand new input method, which will inherently create a new set of applications that work with that idea in mind, where and people will take to it very quickly and very easily because it genuinely feels like it's reading your mind. It's so fluid, right? Where like you're interacting with what you're looking at is such a natural thing. Like, people are going to be excited about that. And it will generate new applications that we haven't seen before in the same way that the iPhone did, in my opinion. But it also, like the Mac, in a way, you can make apps for its operating system, or you can use iPad apps on it, right? So it's like almost like, in a way, like with Catalyst on the Mac.
Yeah.
It's like you can make native applications for this thing, or you can use iPad applications on it. So it has its own inbuilt set of applications that will be available to it in the store because they're available on the iPad and the iPhone, and also you'll be able to make apps for it.
If developers opt into that, and we have heard that a lot aren't.
Well, I don't know we'll see, right? Like, we'll see. I don't know how that's going to end up being. I don't think that we can take any reports to that right now as being really anything, right? Like, I feel like that's the thing that we can't make our mind up about how many apps are available until it ships. Because, like, if you're like saying, let's say Slack, right? Well, maybe they want to actually test it on a device before they check the box. But ultimately, like, why would they not just check the box? Like, what's it going to hurt, right? But I don't know. but the potential is there, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that any of the things that I'm saying are going to be the way that this device goes, right? But the potential is there. And it's what Apple is trying to make happen. And so this is why I'm saying it's like, if it doesn't work, that is also huge for us to talk about.
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean, right? Like I think this is the biggest thing that has happened in our 10 years of doing this because of the implications. It's either going to change how we use computers or it's not going to do that. And either one of those stories is going to be very interesting to follow for the next 10 years, right? Like it is a point in history is what we're entering into right now. And so I'm very excited about it, as you can tell, probably.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be, and I'm not saying that I'm not. In fact, as we get closer to it, I've become more excited about it. I was pretty cool on it over the fall, but...
Well, we're coming at it from a different place, right? Like you notably have had issues with these kinds of products before with motion sickness, right? So like you're just inherently not going to be excited about it if you're nervous that it's going to make you vomit, right?
Yeah.
So like that is like a very different place to come at than me.
Yeah. You're right, though. Apple is pitching this in a way that we really haven't seen. They've flirted with this before, like in the time when they're talking about the iPad was the future of personal computing or your watch was going to replace your phone. Like they have flirted with these ideas before, but this one does feel different. And I think part of it is that this is maybe even more than the Apple Watch. This is like the thing that sets up Tim Cook's legacy outside of the value of the company. That's the real legacy of Tim Cook is the wealth that he has generated. But product-wise, this is the one, right? The Apple Watch definitely feels like a Johnny Ive, Tim Cook kind of era thing. But this feels different in a way. This feels like this is, as much as any product has been Tim's, this feels like the one. And that makes it definitely more interesting from a historical perspective. Because if it flops or it takes 10 years to get good, like Tim Cook doesn't have 10 more years at the helm. There's no way. And so how we judge Tim Cook's time as CEO will be, for better or for worse, for right or wrong, will be wrapped up in how does the Vision Pro go? You know, how was the launch? How was the first few years of this? And I don't know if that was that's something that Tim Cook, how he feels about that, but he stuck with it for better or for worse.
Well, I think the rhetoric of the company so far, and I believe what we will continue to see later on this month, next month, or whatever, they are treating it like this is the biggest deal.
Yeah.
And so they either believe it or are doing a good job of selling it. And so I feel like everybody there must understand what they're setting up, right? Like that this is the contribution, right, to society. Like this is the thing, you know. It's like, oh, there was the Mac and there was the iPhone, and now there's this. Because like, let's be real, right? The iPad and the Apple Watch, they are not that, right?
Yeah.
Like they are a big deal. They are huge. They are bigger than anyone ever could have assumed it either would be. But like, they are both building on the iPhone. The iPhone was not building on the Mac. It was its own thing. And like Vision Pro has the potential to be its own thing just because of the way they are architecting it, right? And I think they want to pitch it that way because what else is there? And so like this is the thing. And so we'll see. But that's why I think it's a big deal, because of all of these reasons, like all of these things that they're doing to set it up, all the ways that they're talking about it, and the potential of it. Like this could, I mean, we've already seen it with Meta, right? Like if Apple's working on large language model stuff, that actually ties really well with a device like this, like with these kinds of devices. Like they did those Ray-Ban glasses, right? And people thought they were okay. And then they were like, oh yeah, but and even Zuckerberg was like, when they were introducing the new ones, he's like, we were working on this thing and we were trying to do stuff with it, and we thought it would take a few years, but then we tied our LLM to it, and now it's like a whole different thing that we didn't even expect. Like, because these things can see what you're seeing, and so this could end up being like that weird backdoor into finding some way of making a large language model make sense for them. It's like they've also got this device that sits on your face, and you can just talk to it, and it just does whatever you want. So I don't know. This is what it is, though. I'm excited about it, and I think this year is going to be really interesting because of it.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ExpressVPN. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you open an incognito window, there's a little note that tells you your activity could still be visible to your employer, your school, or your ISP. If you really want to stop people from seeing the sites you visit, you need ExpressVPN. Think about all the times you've used Wi-Fi at a coffee shop or a hotel. But without ExpressVPN, every site you visit could be being logged by the admin of that network. And it's still true even when you're in incognito mode. What's more, your home ISP could also see and record your browsing data. And in the US, they're legally allowed to sell that data to advertisers. ExpressVPN is an app that encrypts all of your network data and reroutes it through a network of secure servers so that your private online activity stays just that, private. ExpressVPN works on all of your devices and is super easy to use. The app has literally one button. Just tap it to connect, and your browsing activity is secure from prying eyes. My favorite feature about ExpressVPN, and I've used it for years, is the speed that I can browse. I can do what I need to. I can even stream media just fine. It is basically invisible to me as a user in terms of speed, and that is not true of all VPNs out there. So stop letting strangers invade your online privacy. Protect yourself at expressvpn.com/connected. That's expressvpn.com/connected, EXPRESSVPN, expressvpn.com/connected. 3 extra months for free when you visit that URL. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for the support of the show and Relay FM.
But that's not all. There is obviously going to be other things this year. It's probably going to be a pretty big year across the board. Macroom posted their What to Expect in 2024 guide, and I've kind of gone through that and picked out a few things that maybe we could touch on. Obviously, predictions are next week, but maybe this is like setting the table for that. Spoke about bigger screens on the iPhone, but there is also an expectation for all iPhones to be able to capture spatial video, obviously. Along with capturing video, there's also apparently on the Pro phones going to be a capture button. So a new capacitive button for taking photos and videos, which would be where the current millimeter wave antenna is if you have a millimeter wave iPhone.
Let me look at my phone.
Be around that area.
So it's below the sleep wake button on the right side.
Yeah. And so it'll be like on that right side, there'll be another, like probably a little lower down on the phone, so it's easier to hit. But yeah, like a button that you would just press and hold to take photos with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird to me. I don't know why now. Like, I really don't know why now. Like, why are you adding this to the iPhone?
It's weird because it's 4 seconds after the action button showed up.
Yeah.
But if it's tied to photo video, maybe they want this to be more in line with the Vision Pro hardware, because the Vision Pro does have a button to capture spatial video. And maybe they want those things to be more closely aligned. I don't know. It's, for me, the way that I hold my phone, at least in my right hand, seems like a weird place for a button that far down, but I guess we'll see.
I wonder how much of a button it's going to be, right? As opposed to just like a flat area.
Yeah, maybe. You know, there was that rumor that they were going to move to solid state buttons instead of physical buttons, and maybe that's this. I don't know.
I think I've seen reference to that it would be like a capacitive haptic feedback button.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so like not an actual button that stands out, maybe.
Yeah.
An area. I don't know. I really don't know. Like why now? Like I really don't know. Like why are we doing this now? Like, and I guess we'll see. But other than that, the iPhone will probably be pretty much what we expect.
Are you recording spatial video?
I did on vacation.
Do you get some of the
so I
lamb?
had some stuff.
Did the lamb get a
No,
special video?
when we went on our big vacation. So when we went to America in November, I took a bunch then, just so I would have some stuff to look at. But I haven't had, like, if I'm going to do it, I want to try and create videos that will evoke a memory rather than just like a random thing.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be, from all the reporting, like what really is quite effective. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And I will take more when the time like calls itself, you know?
Yeah. I have taken 2 spatial videos so far. So it doesn't show up as a media type in the Mac app for photos, but you can make a smart album for spatial video. I have 2. One, just like I sat on my bed and just like panned around my bedroom. But the other one was during the recent bowl game that the University of Memphis football team played in. And it's from my standing and where my seat was, and it's of the team being awarded the trophy at the end. And that one I think could be really interesting. Like I did that one purposefully. I thought before we went into the game, I was like, this will be a good opportunity for spatial video. There's a lot of depth here, right? I'm in the stands. The football field's way down there. And having...
It means a lot to you emotionally.
A lot to me emotionally. It was also like 28 degrees outside. So I can see my phone freezes when I take it out of my pocket. But so I've only taken the 2. But I am very curious to see how that goes over time.
Yeah, I took like 20. Like I was just like making a point of it. And yeah, but like they're all of a certain thing, so I want to try and get more. The thing was, I now forget to take them. Like it was on my mind to do it on the trip specifically, because one of those reports had just come out again, I think, about like people going to see them in New York, and I was like, I'm going to do it on this trip, so when I can look at them, I will have some stuff to look at. But now I'd forgotten about it until you just asked me. so yeah, because like I do take the majority of video in portrait mode. Like I just how I take video most of the time.
Interesting.
It's also how I look at video though, right? Which is why I do it.
Man, I'm flipping that baby into landscape.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a dad. Like when I'm looking at videos, I'm looking at them in portrait on my iPhone. You know what I mean? So like to me, video is mostly portrait now, unless there's like a specific reason to make it landscape, which is rare, I think, for me. So I need to be more mindful of doing it.
Okay.
For the Mac, a couple of things I pointed out. Maybe you'll have something more exciting. I don't know. M3 Studio, probably.
I feel like the whole M3 changeover will happen this year. I think we'll see it across the line.
Oh, because it would be what? MacBook Air?
The Airs, the Mac Mini, and Mac Studio and Mac Pro.
Who cares about the Mac Pro?
No one does. I still hope they do some sort of like beyond the Ultra for the Mac Pro. But yeah, I expect that the M2 will be swept away, you know, maybe at WWDC or even before.
Yeah.
In fact, to go back a section, they're going to do an event for the Vision Pro, and they do want to pair it with something else like they did in 2015. M3 Max, new iPads, early in the year. There could be something there. So I'm good.
Yeah, I wonder. All right, so let's just real quick run through that, and I'll come back to that. So I hope there'll be a new display. But I don't know, but I still want one. Like, I want Studio Display Pro. Like, I want a Studio Display that can do ProMotion.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
And then with the iPads, we're looking at, as we mentioned before, OLED iPad Pro, M3 powered, maybe MagSafe, some new accessories, and obviously a higher price. And there's also a revamp of the rest of the line expected with a new edition of a larger iPad Air. So that's kind of like, let's look at that as like Mac and iPad. My gut would say that that's just going to be its own thing, maybe in March or something. Because I don't know if that is that already.
Yeah, I mean January feels early.
Yeah, it feels very early. So and also like I feel like they could probably just do enough with the Vision Pro on its own.
I think so.
Maybe.
Too. Yeah,
and then you've got all this other stuff that you can give its own time to later on. Because it would surprise me if they had enough ready to go to do it all in January. Because with the Vision Pro, for all we know, they could say like, oh, it's on sale in March. Like, these rumors are saying one thing, but we don't know. And they also doesn't matter, right? They can just say like, here it is now, and you can order it in 3 weeks and it will ship in 3 weeks. But the Macs and the iPads, they have to be ready to go the week after. So, I don't know. We'll see.
So iPad, not an iPad year in 2023. They could do a bunch of stuff, move to OLED on the Pros, maybe the M3, maybe MagSafe, new accessories. So let's start with the iPad Pro. What are you thinking there?
Well, I mean, it looks expensive and exciting. Maybe. I mean, it looks expensive and it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the software's just not there. It just isn't there. And like, this, well, I'm sure will be really nice for everybody that uses an iPad Pro and wants a new one. But like, making a more expensive iPad Pro, like, I'm just not really sure where we're going, I'm just not sure that that's what the lineup truly needs, is a higher price on the iPad Pro. Like, I really don't know. Where, like, I feel like a bigger iPad Air is maybe more intriguing for a lot of people. Like, I feel like an OLED iPad Pro could be very tempting to me. Like, if anything's going to tempt me away, like just a really nice screen on an iPad would maybe do that, even though I love my mini. But an OLED screen is a very exciting prospect. But that's me as a weird nerd. But like, I'm unconvinced about this. And because I'm just not really sure what the story is. Then just like, oh, it's like faster. Why? And it's now got an OLED screen. It's like, that's nice, but like, what for? I don't know. I feel like I'm being maybe unnecessarily harsh here, but like, I feel like it's just getting harder and harder to tell the story of the iPad now. Like, I'm just not sure what's going on.
I feel like that's not a new question though. Like, I was listening to you talk, I was like, yeah, but I kind of felt that way about the iPad Pro the last several years.
And that's kind of my point, right? Like I feel like it's become harder and harder to tell the story in the form that it's currently in. So if you're going to tell me that story and then tell me it costs more, that's where I'm starting to be like, I don't know, guys. Like, what are we doing here? Like the screen's better. Oh yeah, what, like the last time? Yeah, but better than that. Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
like, oh, it's more powerful now. What, like the last time? Yeah, but more than that. It's like, oh, we have a new keyboard. Like the last one? Yeah, but this one's more expensive and cooler. All right. And the price of all of it's more. Like, I feel like that is becoming a very complicated story.
Yeah, I think it is.
When there isn't like and we also did this with iPad OS. Yeah. And like now it's like we're giving you all the potential that you've wished for. I don't know, man. I don't know. But like, I'm like, oh, like an OLED screen might be nice for me for watching my YouTube videos on. And like, I'm just not sure that really is like doing the best for the product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All I really want out of the iPad this year is like for it to make sense. And I just don't know if we're going to get that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It may actually get worse.
I feel like it can it's going to get worse, but it could be like, there's an interesting story and like there'll be 2 iPad Airs, right? Like that's like interesting, but it is only going to make it more confusing. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Or like it might be that thing that we spoke over before. Like maybe they do what we want and it's like, oh, it looks like the Mac now. Like it's like the laptops. Yeah. 2 Airs, 2 Pros.
Yeah. Apple Watch, this is the year of the Apple Watch 10, assumedly, and Apple normally uses that opportunity to do something exciting. They did it, of course, with the iPhone 10. They did it with the iPad 10th generation. It moved away from the home button and Lightning to the new design. With this is the rumor that comes back every few years that they would break compatibility with existing watch bands. I feel like if you're gonna do it, you've got to do it when there's a redesign. Like if they did it on the Series 8 or something, it's like, well, this thing looks just like the old thing. Why did you do this to me? But if they're going to revamp it and they have something that's actually better, the boys on ATP talked about this recently. The band system now, the attachment, to me, it seems like it works pretty well. I'm sure it could be improved in terms of bulkiness and how much space it takes inside the watch case. But this, people were mad about 30 pin to Lightning. Seems like Lightning to USB-C is less of a big deal. But if you like break Apple Watch band compatibility, I think people are going to be mad, because I think people, even though they're
going to lose it.
Even though an individual band may not be that expensive unless you buy the Apple Watch Ultra ones, people have the bands they like and they move them between watches. And I think if Apple does this, it's going to be, it could be a dust up for sure.
It'll be a bloodbath is what it's going to be. Like, it will happen. I don't know if it's this time, but like, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Because I think that the Apple Watch bands take up too much space in the case, right? Like in the physical space. It's quite a big chunk that they have to take out of the thing. And this is the rumor that, like, this, whatever this X watch is that has been rumored before, is these things. Like, it's a new design. And what seems to be unknown is if that is actually this year or not. And there is a possibility that, weirdly, this might be next year's watch. Like, it seems like no one's completely sure, which I don't know. If they do a new design, like, I kind of expect that they will change the band system. I'm not keen on it, especially because the rumors are a magnetic band system, which seems like an easy way to lose a watch. I got on pretty well with the magnetic band, but that's like 5 magnets holding it together. It's about 1 magnet point, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But with this watch this year, we could be looking at potentially blood pressure monitoring and sleep apnea detection. There is still the rumor out there of glucose, but that's not going to be this time, I don't think. There's no rumors pointing at it being now, but that is still on the way.
Yeah. Maybe they'll rework the blood oxygen thing so they're not in legal battle with.
Because the follow up to that is they went to an appeals court and got it overturned for the time being. That is the follow up to the what is the name of the company?
I always want to say Mimosa, but that's not
Mime
right.
Stream. Massimo, thank you for the mimosa thing. Massimo, it came to me. So they got an appeal. But that, I don't know how long it's going to last. There is a time to it, but I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Apple Watch. And then very quickly, just to round this out, the home stuff, I'm still hoping for a HomePod with a screen, but there's no rumors of this. I also still want new AirPods Max.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's been 83 years,
Yep. And I feel like with OSs, there's going to be AI machine learning. It's going to play a big part, just because if it doesn't, what they're doing over there, and regulation, like side loading, RCS, like this kind of stuff's going to be popping up a lot. I just saw that Japan is starting to work on legislation like the EU is about side loading. So like it's just going to keep hitting from all sides.
Yeah, Apple's going to spend a lot of time in court and in front of legislative bodies in the next year or 2 or 5. And I think it'll be something we all have to contend with. Well, I think that does it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us here in the new year. As a reminder, next week we will be doing the annual Rickies. So we have been grading our picks for 2023. We have a rule change we're going to discuss, I believe, and we'll be back with that next Wednesday. In the meantime, if you want to find links to the stuff we spoke about, head on over to the website, relay.fm/connected/483. Those links are also in your podcast player. Also in your podcast player is a link to the feedback form. So you can send us feedback or follow-up via a form on our website. It can be anonymous if you wish, and you can become a member and get Connected Pro, which is the longer ad-free version of the show we do each and every week. If you want to find Myke, he is on Threads as iMyke, and he's on Mastodon as iMyke at Myke.social. And you can check him out on a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM. And of course, his excellent work with Gray over at Cortex Brand. You can find my writing at 512pixels.net, and I co-host Mac Power Users each and every Sunday here on Relay FM, and you can find me on Threads as ISMH86. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week. They are Fitbod, NetSuite, and ExpressVPN. And until next week, Myke, say goodbye.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.